And our top focus story this Tuesday morning, Prime Minister Modi arrived in Sydney yesterday for the third and final leg of his three-nation tour, during which he's going to be holding talks with his Australian counterpart. But that's not all that's planned. There's a lot more, Divya.
Right, he's going to be meeting CEOs and business leaders. He's going to be meeting the Indian community, and that's going to be celebrating the country's dynamic, diverse Indian diaspora. The Prime Minister will later be having dinner with the Prime Minister of Australia. So a whole lot lined up. The Prime Minister has said he wants to take the relationship with Australia to the next level, including closer defence and security ties in order to help ensure an open and free Indo-Pacific.
Well, the Indo-Pacific region at the moment faces a number of challenges such as climate change, terrorism, security of sea lanes of communication and piracy, and asserted that India believes they can be addressed only through shared efforts. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, has also said that I'm not a person who gets satisfied easily. We earlier spoke with Karthik Mohan Das, a journalist based out of Sydney, and he broke down what really one can expect to see happen through the course of the day.
I think people are very excited, and I'm standing right outside here at the Kudos Bank Arena, which was part of the Sydney 2000 Olympics complex that was developed. This place has really come up well, and Kudos Bank happens to be one of the marquee venues out here that can house in excess of 19,000 people, up to 21,000. And you're going to see a full house today. Of course, depending on how much security they put in and what is the maximum capacity they're going to reach. But you can see throngs of people who will be flooding in very shortly. It is still very early because the gates officially will only open the external one at about 12:30, and the program will proceed from 3 p.m. local Sydney time. But already I can see people trickling in. They're wearing fantastic dresses. They're dressed up traditionally. So all that actually goes to show the excitement, and what people really want to do is come and celebrate the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and see what he has to say and share with them out here. And look, you don't need the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese of Australia, telling you that, because I think numbers actually speak louder than anyone's comments. And just to give you an example, Kudos Bank has a capacity of 21,000. And out of that, you only had bands like and famous stars such as maybe Dua Lipa, Metallica, Roger Waters, Coldplay, Maroon 5 who played here to full houses. And of course, we've had Indian superstars as well, the likes of, A.R. Rahman, Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan. The surprising bit of trivia is that, A.R. got about a 9,000 plus capacity village. And after that, Salman Khan got a capacity of approximately 11,000 plus village. And Shah Rukh Khan got a capacity of about 12,000 plus village. And he had a number of different supporting acts with him. But Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a full house of 19,000 plus the last time that he was here at this venue. And there was still about 1,200 to 2,000 people waiting outside and watching what he had to say on large screens here. And that goes to show really what a rock star or a superstar that he is, and his popularity amongst the diaspora out here in Sydney and Australia. I think from people who are actually following global politics, we know that the scenario is changing very rapidly in Asia and Southeast Asia. I think we have the rise of China, and then apart from that, Australia also being part of the Western Alliance. So given all that and the rise of India as a superpower, so given all that, I think as a part of the Quad and also economic bilateral relationships, the visits by many other ministers from India to come and stitch up deals for bilateral trade, I think it's of immense significance out here, especially because Australia happens to be a part of the Western Alliance, which is based out here in Southeast Asia. So given its position within global, the political scenario and also geographically, it makes Australia very clear in this region. And of course, they have one of the largest reserves of natural resources as well. So given all that, it is imperative, it's very important. And there are a lot of eyes and analysts who are actually looking forward to what would be announced possibly after Prime Minister comes and has a meeting with his counterpart, Anthony Albanese. So those people who have been to Australia and Sydney especially would know that Harris Park always used to be the place where most Indians congregate. They settle there. And, it looks like a little India, but it never was called one. So unofficially, it always was Little India. I think now to get that official stamping. It just makes it out there, the statement that, Indians have arrived, the numbers are there. Having said that, I think for the last couple of months, a lot of people have been calling it Harish Park instead of Harris Park. And that seems to work well with the locals and even else in Sydney as well. So it just goes to seem there'll be a lot of rechristening of places where Indians are thronging and thriving. Another bit of interesting trivia in Harris Park is roughly about 40+% of the population within the Harris Park catchment area is now actually Indian or of Indian origin. So that speaks volumes and is very significant in terms of the voting power that they have and what they command within the local economy and the social and community circuits as well.
And we have fans gathering there for that, event that's taking place today with a chartered flight rebranded as Modi Airways, carried some 170 passengers who were dressed in the tricolour turbans and literally danced their way to that flight, Rishika, in order to meet the Prime Minister.
Well, absolutely. This is a group of people from Melbourne, and they are a part of the IADF, which is one of the teams that's organizing this event with the Indian diaspora in Sydney. This is the same group, interestingly, that was also involved in a previous Modi train event back in 2014. They chartered a flight from Melbourne to Sydney, and now they are in fact en route to the venue in chartered buses to attend this program. We spoke with them a short while ago. Listen in. Dr. Sarwal, to you first. Where are you at the moment? And what's the thought behind what you guys are really doing?
So I'm not doing anything. I'm just joining these guys in the depot of Prime Minister Modi. Right now, we just landed around 7 minutes back at the airport, and we are in the West Connect tunnel taking us to the Kudos Arena. As you can see behind me is the plethora of the crowd with their sapas, the tricolour sapas they are wearing. And I have one of the organizers sitting here. So the whole movement, when we started from Melbourne and we landed in Sydney, people were just asking what's going on, so they could easily recognize the Indian tricolour flag. Some had idea that Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Australia, but they had no idea that this would be the level of reception. I think one of the speakers before me was mentioning the kind of the arena's capacity. It is brimful, and I've been told by the organizers that they expect a lot of people to just stand outside, like the good old days when superstars used to visit and people didn't get a seat. They will just wait in the outside circles, and they will wait for Modi there. They will be cheering for Modi.
All right, Mr. Sachin Gaur, can you tell us where you are at the moment and what's really happening?
Right now I'm behind Amit Sarwal's bus. So we are going to the arena, and we came from Melbourne. It's like 170 odd guys in the chartered plane. And I, being an Australian Indian, was waiting for this amazing visit of Modi ji.
Okay, so let me just ask you, whose idea was this?
That is Indian IADF, that is the Indian diaspora. So we, like a group of people, and Sachin Daya is one of them. And so we organize all of these things. And so previously it was train, so we decided to go through with a plane. So yeah, so it is like amazing trip.
So it was a train. It was a train. You said back in 2014, if I'm not wrong. And this time,
correct. Yep.
This time you've moved from the train. You've moved to a plane. Okay.
Yeah, right.
170 of you taking that chartered flight, calling it Modi Airways in order to meet the Prime Minister. Of course, his popularity has only increased from 2014, and that is evident with the US President going on to ask for the autograph of Prime Minister Modi in Japan, saying that you're too popular, and which is when Anthony Albanese also went on to say that he's getting way too popular in Australia as well. So take us through the popularity of Prime Minister Modi in Australia.
Dr. Sarwal, I think you can answer that.
Yes, so one of the things is that in 2014, I was in India. I was invited to a Modi event and I missed it. at that point of time, you can see that it was only the elites of the Indian community who were invited to meet Modi at MCG. You have the Australian Prime Minister. But this time, I was talking to the Melbourne people. I have Sachin Dahiya with me, who's one of the organizers. And one of the things was that they wanted to bring equality. So they wanted anyone and everyone who's interested in joining the event to be there. So there is no business class, there is no economy class. Everyone just traveled Modi Airways. They're traveling in the same buses, they're eating the same food. They have been, I think, united by this one personality, one persona who is recently the Prime Minister of PNG, James Marape, called him the leader of the Global South. So somewhere Indian diaspora is also looking at, I've been talking to a lot of people in the diaspora. I've researched on the Indian diaspora in Australia, and one of the things is that pre-Modi image of diaspora was that you need to assimilate, you need to fit in, and post-Modi image of the Indian diaspora is that, hey, we love you, we love India, we love Indian food. Hey, why not have a little India, have a street, you are skilled people, you are skilled migrants, we respect India. Basically, if you look at the colonial connections between India and Australia, India was always the lifeline for Australia. All the goods that came from other parts of the world or goods that went out of Australia went through the Indian ports. And India is getting the same respect that, it always had. So it's again acting as a lifeline, given the wars between, the kind of Cold War that's going on between India and Australia and China and Australia and other countries. So you will see that the prominence of India and Indian diaspora has significantly risen. And the thing, can you ask something why these people organized? I think I have Sachin with me. He can answer it best. What was the motive behind these buses and Modi Airways? Sachin.
Yeah. Hi. See, the motive behind it, we will go back to 2014 when our relations with Australia were developing, and we did Modi Express. That was a train. Now our relations in last 8 years is flying. So the chartered plane concept came from there. Now the diaspora is increasing in last 2 decades in Australia. They are doing very good. They are working hard. They are in all the workforces. They are into healthcare sector. And this event is marking the unity of all the diaspora in Australia, which is rallying behind Mr. Modi. It's a showcase of our culture, our different languages, different food, different colors, traditions, and so lots of singing, dancing, and food is happening right now.
Welcome back. The big story that we're tracking today, well, Divya, there's so much anxiety and anticipation around what's really going to happen with the exchange of that 2,000 rupee note. Now, remember, the process is going to begin in about 2 hours from now, because from 10 a.m. as of this morning, banks will actually begin to accept 2,000 rupee notes. This can either now be deposited or exchanged. The RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das yesterday assured citizens that there is no reason to worry and that they needn't rush. So will we see those long queues again, Divya, or not, is the question.
Right, Rishika, that's the big question. The 2,000 rupee notes will continue to be legal tender status and people can continue to use them. So there should be no rush. That's what the RBI Governor has gone on to stress. This move is part of its clean note policy, where notes of a particular series are withdrawn and fresh ones are issued from time to time, and should be seen as a currency management operation of the central bank. To know why these 2,000 rupee notes are being withdrawn, we have our colleague Priyanshi who's breaking it down for us.
A day before the exchange of the now withdrawn 2,000 rupee notes begins, all of us have a lot of questions. The RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das has answered these important questions today. First things first, as the Reserve Bank plans to exchange all 214 crore 2,000 rupee notes or get them deposited in banks by the 30th of September, are banks across the country ready for this exchange? Here's what the RBI Governor said.
We have more than adequate quantity of notes available, already printed. We have more than adequate quantity of printed notes already available in the system. I would like to appeal to all the viewers. There is no reason to sort of rush to the bank. Take your time. 4 महीने की समय दी गई है. आप आराम से 4 महीने के अंदर जब भी आपको सुटेबल होता है आप नोट एक्सचेंज करिए. ऐसा नहीं कि आप तुरंत आज ही जाए, कल ही जाए.
The RBI governor also answered concerns about what will happen after the September 30 deadline. What if you're unable to exchange your notes in time?
The legal tender character, we have said that it continues. Now we expect most of the notes to come back. That is our expectation at this stage. We will see how much notes come back. And as we approach 30th, we will decide, at that stage. Let me assure the people who are abroad, the people who are now in the foreign countries, and let me assure people who are within India, कि जो भी कठिनाइयां आप फेस करते हैं, we will be sensitive to that.
So if we will still be able to make payments using these notes even after September, then why do we really need to exchange them before this deadline? Here's the answer.
Unless you give a particular time, unless you specify a particular time, the process will not reach a stage of finality. And you have to give a time so that the announcement is taken with the seriousness. It is taken seriously and people come and exchange their notes.
Though there's a limit to exchange 10 notes, that's only for one transaction at a time. The RBI says you can also exchange more than 10 notes in a day by visiting the same bank multiple times or by exchanging notes at different banks on the same day. But why does the RBI not want us to have any 2,000 rupee notes after all? Why are they being withdrawn? The RBI governor has listed multiple reasons.
These 2,000 notes were primarily issued for the purpose of quickly replenishing the value of money which was being taken out from the system when the the then prevailing 1,000 rupee notes and 500 rupee notes were what is called when their legal tender status were withdrawn. That purpose has been fulfilled. Today there are enough notes in circulation of other denominations.
How will these exchanges be monitored to nab those with black money? Will the RBI scrutinize how many notes a person is depositing?
देखिए RBI तो कोई scrutinize नहीं करता है. बाकी जो एजेंसीज है इनकम टैक्स वगैरह हो वो तो अपना नॉर्मल प्रोसीजर फॉलो करेंगे. लेकिन आरबीआई के तरफ से हम ऐसे किसने कैश ये किया हम आरबीआई के तरफ से नहीं उसको नहीं करते हैं. जैसे आपको पता होगा बैंकों का एक रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टम है जिसको सीटीआर एसटीआर वगैरह कहते हैं. आपको सबको पता है वो तो मॉनिटर करते हैं.
And well, the other big development today, of course, Divya, is everything that's happening in Srinagar.
Absolutely. It's the second day of the G20 Tourism Meet in Srinagar, the first international meet in Kashmir, with security at record levels in place, Rishika.
Well, absolutely. And, the tourism working group is going to be deliberating on key things. And joining us is my colleague Neeta. Neeta, you're, of course, coming to us from Srinagar. There's a splendid backdrop of the Dal Lake behind you. We're very envious sitting here in the Delhi studios looking at your location. But, it's been in a certain sense a historic meeting, a key international meet happening in Srinagar, the first of its kind post the abrogation of Article 370. From the tight security to the streets that have been decked up, break it down for us.
Absolutely. It's a big international event as far as Kashmir is concerned. In fact, in the history of Jammu Kashmir, international event of such an level is happening for the first time. Almost 61 countries are participating in this meeting. Today, as far as the deliberations are concerned, because yesterday, it's a tourism working group meet. So yesterday, India came forward with a draft policy on national films. They want foreign filmmakers, international filmmakers to come here and shoot. And obviously, why not? Because as I'll also show you. See, Srinagar offers so much. Kashmir offers so much. In a small span of kilometers, you can have mountains, you can have snow, you can have streams, you can have shikara rides, you can have forests, you can have greenery. So, it offers you a lot. So, India obviously wants to capitalize on this, and that is why this tourism meet is happening here in Srinagar. 61 countries are participating. However, there was this big controversy controversy about China and also Turkey not participating. Some of the countries also included, some countries have also not come, but most importantly, important countries, G7 countries, all of them are participating in this meeting. As far as, we were told that as many as 370 films have been shot in last 2 years here in Kashmir, and with the launch of OTT platforms, this concept is taking people are coming here to shoot for their OTT platforms also. So India is trying to give them one single window clearance as far as this Kashmir is concerned. Obviously, today all the states are going to come forward and going to project their part of it as to what they can offer. The tourism in Valley is obviously thriving. Last year, the figure was 1 crore 88 lakhs. Today, this year, it seems this figure is obviously going to cross. Yesterday, we were told last year in 2022, as many as 532 flights weekly were coming to Srinagar. This year, the numbers have doubled. So obviously, many tourists are coming here to see what is happening and how Kashmir is obviously known as heaven on earth. Back to you.
Right, so the 5 key priority areas, including promoting film tourism in Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you so much, Anita, for joining us from the Dal Lake.
All right, well, let's now shift our focus to the big political development we're tackling today. The Congress on Monday, remember, has indicated that while it agrees in principle that the centre's executive order on transfers and postings in Delhi is in fact undermining the Supreme Court order, they would still prefer to take a collective decision on their stance on siding with Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party in Parliament. So it's a cautious approach really, by the Congress. While they're agreeing in principle, politically they don't seem to be convinced to back Arvind Kejriwal.
Absolutely. Well, the ordinance passed late on Friday evening overrides a recent order of the Supreme Court, which said that the elected government is the boss of Delhi and makes the LG the final arbiter of the issue. Kejriwal has started a huge outreach to opposition parties, starting with Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, over the centre's ordinance.
Well, and in fact, Nitish Kumar, who volunteered to act as the interlocutor for opposition unity ahead of the 2024 general elections, met Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge and Rahul Gandhi in Delhi on Monday. And it's going to be interesting because Arvind Kejriwal has an important meeting lined up today as well, Divya.
That's right, Rishika. He will be meeting West Bengal's Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee in Kolkata over the ordinance and also other issues like forming a collective strategy in order to take on the BJP in 2024. That will also be on that agenda of that meeting of Arvind Kejriwal with Mamata Banerjee today.
Well, we'll continue to track all those political developments. A lot coming up on the other side of a short break.
See you.